As fall camp is coming to an end and coaches and teams are starting to prep for their week one opponent, or in some cases, the week zero opponent, I want to take a few minutes and kind of give a quarterback update from several teams from this past weekend. We've had several guys get named as their starting quarterbacks. We'll have more this week, I am assuming, and then some more updates on some competitions that are still going on. And so we want to take a few minutes, kind of give our last fall camp update, if you will, because once the season starts, we'll be giving more game updates and game reviews and game previews as well. But before we dive into the content of today's video and talk about these quarterback updates, I just want to encourage you to consider subscribing to our channel. If you like any quarterback content, feel free to subscribe, like the video, comment below, and we'll keep putting out quarterback content. So let's dive into the actual meat and potatoes of the video. And real quick, I want to say one quick thing before we dive into it. As kids are coming back on campus, this was probably my favorite week as a college football player, because the whole month of August you're by yourself in fall camp in 2 days, and it's crazy. And then when students actually get back on campus, and you're not at the facility all day every day, and you're limited to X amount of hours a day, it's a much better feeling. It's not as depressing, if you will. So anyways, that's kind of a note. I won't get into my old horror stories of college football. Let's dive into the first quarterback we're going to talk about today, and that is Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud, who was just named the starting quarterback this weekend. And I don't think that comes out as a surprise to anyone. We put out a video the other day kind of going into detail why he was named the starting quarterback and the reasons for it. So let's just kind of review it real quick here during this kind of section of the video. And I think the biggest things of why he was able to separate himself was, and Coach Ryan Day stated this, his anticipation and his throws that led to a lot of accuracy and his preparation. So he was very prepared during practices, and it showed. And whenever you go back and watch this film from high school, and granted, it's high school film, so take it with a grain of salt, but you see that anticipation factor that leads to those very accurate throws. So it's something he was doing since high school and has continued to do it at the Ohio State level. Also an athletic quarterback as well, and it didn't harp on his athleticism too much. I don't think he's a Justin Fields necessarily. But if you look at his 247 sports kind of comparison when he was in high school, they compared him to Teddy Bridgewater. So he has enough athleticism. He's probably a better athlete than Teddy Bridgewater, but he has enough athleticism to get out of the pocket when he needs to run when he needs to. But again, it's his accuracy and his anticipation, and it's probably his fit of the offense that was why he was named the starting quarterback. Again, not a surprise to anyone, but a few reasons why he was named the starting quarterback. If you're interested in kind of a more detailed video of that, we just put out a video yesterday. I'll put that in the description below. You can go check that out. So that is C.J. Stroud from Ohio State. Let's move on to the next topic, or the next school that we're going to talk about for their quarterback update. The Texas Longhorns completed their second scrimmage of fall camp this past Saturday, and anyone that has been keeping up with the Longhorns quarterback competition knows that the first scrimmage, there was not a lot of high praise from the quarterbacks. Coach Sark was a bit disappointed and wanted better play, and the second scrimmage they got better play. So let's look at what Coach Sark had to say about the quarterback competition real quick. I don't think we're any closer, or at least we're not, as people that keep up with it. We're not even closer to knowing who will be the starting quarterback. I'm sure the coaches already know that or have a good idea, but we're still waiting, and there hasn't been any one way or another of who is in the lead right now. So let's go ahead and look what Coach Sark said about the quarterbacks, though, because it is encouraging for Texas fans that the quarterback play was better this scrimmage. Coach Sark says, "I love the improvement from the offense. High praise concerning he's someone that doesn't blow smoke out as you know what." He says, "I would say they played winning football today," and that's the standard, right? So he's talking about the quarterbacks right here. He says, "I mean, they are putting us in a position to win games, and they did that. First of all, that starts with taking care of the ball. The second aspect of that is managing the offense, and then the third thing I thought they took advantage of, the opportunities when they were there." He goes on to say, "We're probably in a better position at quarterback than a lot of people, because I really believe we have two guys that can play. I believe in having a starter and having a backup. But when, I've got a backup that can play at a high level and operate at our offense the way we want to operate, that's really the luxury for us, because there's a lot of teams that maybe have a returning starter who's a frontline guy, but their backup may not be very capable." So good praise from the quarterbacks from Coach Sark. I think both are probably trending in the right direction. I wouldn't be surprised to see a guy named this week at some point. Again, that's just a hunch. I could be totally wrong, but I think going into week one, you probably want to know who the guy is going to be getting the majority of the snaps. But again, we don't know who that guy is going to be yet. I bet Coach Sark probably already knows. Regardless of who it is, it seems like the quarterbacks played much better in this scrimmage, so I think that's an encouraging sign, and hopefully they continue that way. Again, that's the Texas quarterback positions with Casey Thompson, Hudson Card battling for that spot. So let's go on and move to our next school we're going to get an update on. USC quarterback Keaton Slovis is someone that we've spent a fair amount of time talking about this offseason and how we think he'll bounce back and why he think he'll take that next step this year. And then also we talked about the transfer portal in general with all the transfers they have coming in. The guys from Tech, about 3 players from Texas, the Memphis wide receiver, I might some other guys as well. So a lot of transfers coming in that I think will help Slovis. But the first scrimmage of the year that he had, what was it, 2 weeks ago, he didn't play in a bunch. He didn't get a bunch of playing time. This scrimmage, he had more snaps, got more of a feel of things, and so it was kind of an up and down scrimmage. What we're hearing, at least from this article we're going off of, which we'll read real quick. It was somewhat an up and down day for the USC quarterbacks. Slovis and Dart both threw touchdowns. All 3 scholarship quarterbacks threw interceptions as well. But like we mentioned, Slovis did get more reps in the Saturday scrimmage after playing only a few series in the first scrimmage, like we said. So there were some good moments that they said, some good touchdowns that he had. But right now they're still building chemistry with the receiver group outside of a receiver Drake London, who is their top guy. So I think USC is going to be in a good position moving forward. Even though it was an up and down scrimmage today, they got a few more weeks to kind of settle things out and kind of figure it out before the actual game. And I do think the transfer is going to help. But again, I want to just give a quick update on Keaton Slovis and how things are progressing in camp. For the simple fact, I think he'll have a bounce back year. He's someone that we covered often during this offseason, and someone we talked about him bouncing back. So let's go on and move on to the next school, the next quarterback update we'll get. The Florida State quarterback competition is one of the probably more surprising quarterback competitions currently going on right now for the simple fact I think most people thought when Mackenzie Milton was transferring in, it would be his job relatively easy. That has not been the case by any means. I think that's actually a good sign that he hasn't got the starting job yet. That means that Jordan Travis has improved a lot, and he's been looking good in camp, especially what we're hearing. And we are hearing good things from Travis. He's really throwing the ball well. So I think, again, regardless who wins, that there's opportunity for success there for a simple fact. Coach Norvell, I think, is going to put them in position to succeed and put them around, have a surrounding cast around them to help them out. But I still think it's a surprising competition with the fact that Jordan Travis is still in it and could very well be the guy. It would not surprise me to see Travis or Milton be the starting quarterback. So regardless who wins it, I think they're going to be in a good position, and I think we'll see some success. But let's look at the actual kind of takeaways from this past scrimmage and kind of give the actual update of the quarterback competition, which, to be honest, there hasn't been a ton. It's been a lot of just coach speak. Coach Norvell talked a lot about, he talked comparing about the quarterbacks and kind of managing them, and the only thing he said about the older quarterbacks being Jordan Travis and Mackenzie Milton was that I think you see some of that confidence. You see the confidence in the older quarterbacks and what they're being asked to do and how they're playing. And all in all, it's been exciting to see that progression. Again, coach speak there. When they ask him about how close he is to naming a quarterback, he says, "We're closer. I feel really good. We're going to keep watching practice and going to watch these guys who put us in the best position to be successful September 5th. I'm really pleased with what I'm seeing from that group and with the way that they are playing." So again, nothing too much to take away from there except for the simple fact they probably know who the starting quarterback is going to be. They're keeping it away from us, and we'll probably find out September 5th. But again, I wouldn't be surprised to hear for them to name someone a little bit earlier just for the team's sake, right? So, again, we'll keep track of that. So, nothing really new with the Florida State competition. Some other quarterback updates to kind of to just be aware of. Baylor named their starting quarterback Gary Bohannon. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. So we'll do some film on that. Maybe put out a video over him. Also, Northwestern named the starting quarterback Hunter Johnson. Is a bit surprising. People thought Ryan Helinski, the transfer from South Carolina, was going to be named the guy. It is Hunter Johnson, the former Clemson quarterback. I don't think he played much last year at all, but the year before started off as the starting quarterback at Northwestern, struggled, had some injuries. So we'll see if he bounces back this year. And one last school to touch on was Oregon. Anthony Brown is the starter as of right now, but we're hearing some really good things from Ty Thompson, especially from the past scrimmage. So we'll keep track on that and see how that develops as well. So that's kind of our quarterback updates of fall camp, and we'll keep progressing and keep tracking things and see what happens moving forward. But eventually we have game week coming up, and so we'll actually have some real games to talk about and real quarterback matchups to talk about. But again, if you like the video, please consider subscribing, like below, leave us a comment, let us know what quarterback storyline is the most interesting one to you and why, and we'll see you next time on the next quarterback related video.